Maestro, in association with the Boxing Voice. I'm here with Dazn's Chris Mannix, Sports Illustrated, The Volume, a big fan of yours, obviously, NBA work and boxing. You're here at the weigh-in, Hulu Theater for Serrano and Taylor. Give us your thoughts on the weigh-in experience here.
It ranked to me right up there with the weigh-ins we've seen for the Manny Pacquiao's, the Floyd Mayweathers, the Canelo Alvarez's. I mean, these are uber popular men that are doing big weigh-in crowds in Vegas. This was, somebody said this to me and I agree with them. Like, I've seen fewer fans at actual fights in the Hulu Theater than were here at the weigh-in to support Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. What I loved about it, it had a nice mixture of both. It feels like there's going to be 60-40 Taylor-Serrano fans. Like, there's going to be Puerto Rican fans going crazy on Saturday. There's going to be Irish fans going crazy on Saturday. And you got just a little taste of it at the weigh-in on today.
Couldn't have picked a better city, I don't think. Huge populations of Irish people in Woodlawn, in the Bronx, and Queens. Puerto Ricans, obviously, all over the city. Is this the venue for this fight, Chris? Do you agree?
It's the only venue for this fight. I mean, New York City's a melting pot, and Madison Square Garden is the mecca of boxing. Not to be cliche, but it's where everybody goes if they want to be in a big fight. And, these two women have built-in fan base that are here. There'll be a lot of people that travel to get here to see this fight, but you walk the streets of New York, there are fans in Katie Taylor t-shirts, there are fans in Amanda Serrano hats. Like, these are not people that came from far and wide. These people walking the streets of New York that are fans of Katie Taylor. So I don't know. I can't think of any other place but MSG that this fight would have to take place.
Also, we've got a co-feature here. Jesse Vargas, Liam Smith. What the hell has gotten into Jesse Vargas? Is it Liam Smith getting under his skin? Have you ever seen him like this before?
Never. I've either broadcast or covered most of Jesse's fights throughout the last 5 years. He's usually as respectful and quiet as you can be. Even when I'm remembering like an Adrian Broner fight, when Broner was going off, Jesse just sat there in his suit and said, "Come see the fight, buy your tickets, blah, blah, blah," given the cliche. But he lost it. He lost it in this. And sometimes when guys are weight drained, you think that, but he was 153 and he's fighting for the first time as a full-fledged 154. I mean, something that Liam Smith has done has gotten under Jesse Vargas' skin. But I do understand the passion, the urgency in this fight, because this really is win or go home. Like, either one of these guys lose, they're both in their early 30s, they're done. You're not going to climb back to the junior middleweight division title picture after a loss to the other. So one is going to go on to maybe a 7-figure payday in his next fight, and the other is probably going to be done.
Just to get your thought on a couple other things in the sport of boxing, last week was the huge fight, 94,000 people, Wembley Stadium in England. Tyson Fury announced his retirement after the fight. I spoke to Sugar Hill yesterday. He says he believes him. I'm hoping to get Usyk versus Joshua 2 live on Dazn as part of my subscription. Does Fury need to fight the winner of that fight to solidify his legacy?
I think it enhances it. I don't know if he needs to do it to solidify. He's already the best heavyweight of this generation if he retired tomorrow, but boxers retire every day. More than any other sport out there, they just walk away and say, "All right, we're done," and then they come back. Tyson Fury's done it a couple of times. Floyd Mayweather did it forever. So, I think he believes it now, as most fighters do after a hard training camp and after a tough fight. But I don't think he's going to walk away, especially when he sees the dollar sign that's going to be attached to a fight with either Anthony Joshua or Vargas. He could get into the $100 million range for that fight, depending on where it's held and what kind of promotion there is for it. Certainly, if it's AJ, he'll make $100 million for that fight. Guys don't turn that down. They don't walk away from that no matter how many nice houses and cars they have or how simple a life they lead. They don't walk away from that type of purse.
Lastly, you're the man at Dazn, obviously. One of the men in the zone.
I'll take a 1-0. I'll go with that. Oh, cool. That's
So I'm hoping to get some insight with you on this one. Does Dazn re-upped with Canelo 3-fight deal? First of the 3 fights is obviously the Bivol fight. Second is supposed to be Golovkin. Is there any chance that we could see the Dazn broadcast the fight between Beterbiev and Canelo as part of that 3-fight deal?
As part of the 3-fight deal, no. I think when Canelo returns in December, my understanding is it's going to be some kind of victory tour type of fight. In the same way that Rocky Fielding was for Canelo after the Golovkin fight. It'll still be a real opponent, but it might be someone more like a John Ryder if he wants to go over to the UK. He could move up to cruiserweight to fight for a cruiserweight title. I think the Beterbiev fight if Beterbiev beats Joe Smith this summer, is going to happen at some point in May, in the next Cinco de Mayo weekend for Canelo Vargas. I think DAZN's got a great shot at broadcasting because I'm not sure that ESPN will want to put up the kind of guarantee you got to put up to make that fight actually happen. And Canelo's obviously very comfortable working with Eddie Hearn, but I don't expect that to happen this year. I think a full unification at 175 will be in 2023.
Well, you've got the bully pulpit. You were clamoring for a lot of fights I've been dying to see. Fights featuring Gervonta Davis. I was signing with you on that debate. Fights featuring Abubu Andrade. What about Zordo Canelo? Zordo's associated with DAZN. Is there a possibility of that, do you think?
I think it's more likely we see Munguia Canelo before we see Zordo against Canelo. Munguia has become a popular guy. He's at 160, but he's likely going to 168 sooner rather than later. Canelo's made it clear he wants to fight in Mexico City at some point in a big event. There's nothing bigger right now as far as Mexico City goes than Canelo versus Munguia. Munguia does great crowds in Southern California. If Munguia stays undefeated the rest of this year, early next year, I think you will see Canelo Munguia in 2023.
Chris, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate all your work. We'll see you at the fights tomorrow and again next week for Canelo Bivol.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it.
Thank you on behalf of the Boxing Voice.
For the video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.